guys. Okay. Oh, see? Hey guys. Old habits. I wanted to talk about Oklahoma Story. We did skip chapter 7. I wanted to get into chapter 8 and talk a little bit about government. The whole timeline just got kind of wonky. You have a worksheet that needs to be completed, but I wanted to go over this lesson because I think we need to do that before you get to the worksheet. So let's do that. When in your reading, a representative democracy, remember a democracy is a kind of government that we have. The United States is a democratic government. It is based on what the people want, right? Okay. So the people vote for who they want to represent them. And a representative means a representative goes and meets with the other representatives and they talk about, okay, I represent this group of people and this group of people wants this to happen. So your representative needs to be talking about the people. Probably, I don't know if you've ever had anybody knock on your door and they say, yeah, I'm running for this or that. I'm running for city councilor. I'm running for your state representative. I'm running for this. Or your parents may get calls on the telephone. I am representing such and such and we would appreciate your vote. Well, they're trying to get in contact with the people that they represent. And they want to tell you what the things that they want to get done. And then you have to choose, okay, now which person do I want to represent me? Which one thinks like I think? And then that's who you vote for. That means if you vote, you have a responsibility to listen to all these people and figure out what it is that they think and the way that they want to do things. And not just, you don't go by what other people say or what other people think. You have to figure it out and you listen and you make the decisions. That's what your parents do, right? They don't just call up, hey, my best friend Johnny, what are you going to do? Who are you voting for? Oh yeah, that sounds good. That's what I'm going to do. Well, you know what? Your best friend Johnny may not think the same way that you do or want the same things done that you want done. So it's up to you. It is your responsibility. It's your duty. I said duty. All right. Well, okay. The U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution has a government by the people. It has different levels of government. Remember when we studied the Oklahoma Constitution, or the Oklahoma government, they set up Bill of Rights, they set up, it has a constitution, and they set up county governments. So there's levels in governments, and that is exactly it. There's 3 branches of government. And we've talked about this in class. The executive branch, which that's the president. The legislative branch, which that's Congress, which is made up of 2 parts, House of Representatives and the Senate. And then there's the judicial branch, which that's the courts, okay? So we're going to specifically study about the federal government, which is the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, okay? So we're going to study all 3 of those. Your book goes into the Bill of Rights. I basically want you to just read through that and be familiar with that. I know when you get into 7th and 8th grade, Mrs. Yoakum will be doing a lot more with that. You'll be learning those. And I think Mrs. Cox spends some time with that, if I'm not mistaken. I may be mistaken on that. So there's different levels of government. You have the federal government, and then you have the state government, which our government of Oklahoma will get in. We are going to be discussing that, on how that's set up. And we have county government. We'll be discussing that. And then our city government. So, it talks about the 3 branches of government. The executive branch, we've talked about that. The legislative, the judicial. If you'll just read through that, hopefully that will be a good review for you. And the reason why we have the 3 branches is because the founding fathers who set up the Constitution didn't want the president to have all the power. They didn't want the House of Representatives to have all the power. They didn't want the senators to have all the power. So they spread those ballots and out to where one can't do everything. They have to have the approval of everybody. And it's so that one person or branch can't have all the power. So it works pretty well. There are some people here that it talks about, some people from Oklahoma that have represented our state. It talks about some national holidays that we have. President's Day, Washington's birthday. I think we talked about that during President's Day, about what that meant. We have Independence Day, July 4th. We've talked about all this. So a lot of this, guys, is stuff that we've talked about in Oklahoma history. I try to touch on it so that when we get to this chapter, it's not like you're just going, whoa, Declaration of Independence, what's that? You guys know what the Declaration of Independence was. They said, hey, King George, we're not doing that no more, right? Right. Sent the Declaration of Independence in 1776, and then we fought the Revolutionary War. So this is all when the Constitution happened after that. Remember, we spent several years we were a country without a president, and then they voted on George Washington. So it talks about, with rights comes responsibility on page 274. I for sure want you to read that. What does it mean to be responsible? What does it mean to be a good citizen? There's a lot of things that go with being a good citizen. Obeying the laws. Telling the truth. Being polite and helpful. Respect the rights of others. Does this sound like Intermediate 1 class rules? It should. Yeah. It's based on this. Yeah. Who knew that when you went to Intermediate 1, you would be practicing to be a citizen of the United States of America? It's just good things to do. Take care of the environment. Recycle Thursday. Learn about issues and share opinions with government leaders. That's why we have you do the, now I can't think of what it's called. Plead your case. You have to be able to, if you believe something, you have to be able to support it with facts. Guess what? What happens sometimes when you're pleading your case? You're standing up there going, this is the way I feel and these are the reasons why. And then you listen to the other person and they say, this is how I feel and these are the reasons why. And you're going, if you really listen, sometimes you go, yeah, no, I'm even more sure of what I believe. But sometimes you say, oh, I didn't think of that. That makes sense. I'm going to change my mind. I changed my mind. I'm going to go to the other side. That's the way it happens sometimes. That's why you always have to listen, right? That is what a citizen does of the United States of America. You have to listen. Doesn't mean you're going to always change your mind. Sometimes it makes you feel even firmer about what you believe. But sometimes you do change your mind, just like on Plead Your Case, okay? All right, when you're old enough to vote. And then to volunteer. Guys, I really can't encourage you enough to volunteer. Our family is really big on volunteering. There's a thing called Lights on Thursday nights, where you go and give food to some of the people in Tulsa. You can go to the animal shelters. They love for people to come and play with the pups. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's hard to leave, but it's a lot of fun. There's kitties and doggies that never get to play with anybody, and they'll let you go and play with them. You have to call and make an appointment to do that. All kinds of stuff you guys can do. Volunteer to go pick up trash on the highway. All kinds of stuff. So always keep your eye out for volunteering. That's it for lesson 1. When you get to your worksheet, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. There are some websites there that I want you to look up. Who is our President of the United States? I want you to go in and type that in. Who is our Vice President? Who are our Supreme Court justices? There are 9 of them. You should at least be familiar with their names. Who are our House of Representatives? Now, these all meet in Washington, D.C. I'm talking about our federal government. Have fun with it. Call me if you get confused. Let me know. Have fun, guys.